I am Pamela Zimmer, your self-care concierge. And for those of you who don't know me, I will give you the quick 60-second version of who I am and what I do and why I do what I do. So I was an architect for 13 years, had my own practice in Truckee, California, with a business partner, and we had our own successful firm for about half of that time. I worked for an architect prior, and then for the other half of those 13 years, I ran my own successful firm. And I also always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So I got that career drive from my dad, who was an engineer, and I got the stay-at-home mom bug from my mom, who was, in my mind, the best mom ever. I'm sure that we can all relate to our moms and wanting that stay-at-home aspect for our children. And well, maybe we can, maybe we can't, but I did. I had that drive. And so I was blessed that once our second son, Braden, was born, I got to fulfill my dream and become that stay-at-home mom. So I thought that I had everything that I wanted. We had two boys. We had Zachary, who was almost 3. Sorry, I'm just going to move my video. We had Zachary, who was almost 3, and then Braden, who was a brand new little beautiful newborn. And I thought that I had everything that I wanted. And 4 months into it, 4 months into Braden's life, I was diagnosed with severe postpartum depression, and it flipped my world upside down. And that moment changed everything for me. So I thought, like I said, I thought that I was just going to be happy living my dream of being this stay-at-home mom, taking care of the kids, having birthday parties and crafts and play dates and going to music and me classes and boot camp stroller workouts with the fellow moms. And none of that ended up being in my scenario. I don't know if anyone else has ever gone through postpartum depression or known someone with postpartum depression, but this is my little plug for that, for awareness for that, but it is the #1 complication associated with pregnancy and childbirth, yet it is far less talked about than really any other illness out there. So I learned a couple things during that experience. I suffered postpartum depression for nearly 6 years, and I learned a few things. And the biggest lesson that I learned was the lesson about self-care and how no one else was going to take care of me other than me. So here I am, 9, almost 10 years later. Braden is almost 10 years old, and our older son, Zachary, is 12 going on 13. And I don't miss architecture one bit. I love what I do. I am lucky enough to have been gifted the desire to speak and write from God. And so I have 6 best-selling books. I'm an international speaker. I'm a coach. And now I get to share what I've learned with you. So my motto is self-care isn't selfish, it's essential. And my mission and my purpose in life is to help you take care of you on every level so you can do what you were put on the planet to do. So that's a little bit about me. Let's see, we'll go ahead here. So we are all on this webinar together. And again, I thank you so much. I appreciate you giving me your time today. I know there's a lot of other things that you could be doing right now, so I appreciate it. I'm going to honor your time, and I'm going to do my very best to keep this within the hour. I will stay on longer if anyone has questions or concerns or just wants to chat. And then if you have any questions, just save them till the end. You can pop them in the chat, and Anne can remind me of those questions if I miss them, but just save them to the end just so I can get through. Please feel free to chat on the webinar. I will do my best to see what the comments are. But again, I'm just here focused, trying to provide you and serve you and give you the value that I have prepared for you. So if we can all just hold our questions to the end, I promise that I will answer them. And I also will promise to share with you how you can take this work further, how you can get access to me, how you can keep the conversation going. All right, so sound good? Thumbs up there if that sounds good, or nod. Yeah, awesome, thank you. Okay. So what do we do when life throws us this curveball? How do we stay in the game? We are all in this COVID-19 pandemic right now. I think there is one thing that is comforting, at least for me, and that is that we're all in this together. There isn't one person who is not experiencing something different or new, be it positive, negative, or both, in this whole situation. Globally, we are all affected. And to me, that gives me a little bit of comfort. I don't know about you guys, but it provides comfort for me knowing that we're all in this together. But what do we do? So what do we do when something changes our usual day-to-day, when something changes our normal routine and we can't focus on the things that we used to focus on, or our kids are home, or we can't go to the office like we used to? What do we do? I don't know about you, but for me, postpartum depression was one of those life throwing me a curveball moments. And I was able to get through that. And so I know that I have things that I have learned that can help you also learn how to get through this curveball. Does anyone feel like they're just swirling and not quite sure how to maintain their routine or anything like that? Give me just put a yes in the comments or a nod or something like that. So I promise that I will share with you. Yeah, Ashley Garza. Yes, yeah, we're swirling. So I promise I'm going to share with you three specific ways that we can maintain our self-care practice. 3 strategies, and these are proven strategies. But before I share those strategies, we kind of need to know what self-care is, right? Because self-care is different for everyone. Self-care is not just this massages and pedicures and all of the surfacey things that we think of. It's not just getting our hair done or getting our nails done, which, by the way, it's fantastic. I am a total advocate for that. I did get my nails done probably about 6 weeks ago now, so I'm not sure what I'm doing moving forward. And yes, those outside, I call them surface level because they're physical. We can see them. Those are very important. And I am a huge advocate of taking spa days, and not taking a spa day because you need a spa day, but taking a spa day because you plan a spa day and you're worth a spa day and you deserve a spa day and you want a spa day, not because your life is so chaotic and crazy that you need one. I'm all for that. But self-care is actually fourfold. So I'm going to share with you what self-care is. There's 4 elements to self-care. And I actually have this little pinwheel here. And you can see it on the slide too. I have this pinwheel, and it represents these 4 areas of self-care that we get to address. So we're human beings that aren't just physical beings. We have emotions, we have thoughts, we have connection to source or spirits. For me, that's God. So those are the 4 elements. I have a definition of self-care, and if you want to write it down, that's great. If not, just listen. But it's intentional thoughts or actions to care for your own physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. I'll repeat it. It's intentional thoughts or actions to care for your own physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. So we have those 4 areas: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And I use this pinwheel example because if you think of each one of those areas as a spoke on this pinwheel, when we have all four of them and we're paying attention to all four of them, our pinwheel should spin, right? You give it a little blow. I don't know if this one will work. Kind of. It's kind of awkward. But when we have our self-care in these four areas, our pinwheel flows, it spins, it's effortlessly, it's smooth. When we take one of those spokes away, when we're not taking care of our body physically, when we're not taking care of our mind or our heart emotionally, when we don't have some kind of connection to God or spirit or the universe or your bigger being, when you're not thinking outside of yourself, that's when our self-care starts to kind of wobble along. And it's like the saying, you're only as strong as your weakest link. So if one of those areas of your self-care pinwheel is weak, the other three areas are going to try to compensate for that. And maybe they're going to start lacking because they're giving too much in that area. So just give me a nod or a thumbs up or something else or a yes in the chat box if that concept makes sense to you. This concept of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health and how they're all connected. Awesome, total sense. Thank you, Ashley. I love the input and the feedback. It's hard for me to see you guys because I have the chat and my slides, so thank you. So let's talk real briefly about this physical aspect of self-care. That is like your exercise, it's your sleep, it's your rest, it's your nutrition. There's so many studies that are linking gut health to brain health and disease and inflammation to gut health, and food and nutrition is such a powerful tool. It's a powerful strategy. It's a powerful item in our toolbox that we can use to fight off disease and inflammation. And especially right now, we're all going through this COVID pandemic. And what's the number one thing that people are worried about when it comes to their physical health? It's their immunity. So if we aren't doing something for our immunity, if we aren't doing something that's putting wonderful ingredients into our bodies, we're lacking in that physical aspect, that physical element of self-care. I happened to love the product that I get to be on and share with other people, and it's DNA Custom Nutrition, where you get a 35-page report, send it off, or you swab your cheeks, you get a 35-page report, and as your DNA is being tested, you get a custom nutrition blend that's made just for you. It's got your name on it. And for me, I know that I'm getting all of the right nutrients that my body needs to maintain that high level of immunity. So it's one less thing that I have to worry about. And right now, I have more than enough to worry about. So knowing that my nutrition is made just for me is a huge benefit. The physical element of self-care is also making sure that we get enough rest and enough sleep, making sure we're drinking enough water and staying hydrated. And here's another little bonus tip. Did you know that if we are maintaining our hydration in our body, we can be 14%, up to 14% more productive in our day. And I know that self-care is directly tied to productivity as well. So everyone drink up. So that's, again, the physical element of self-care. And I will share with you at the end of the training how you can get access to your very own DNA report, how you can get access to your custom DNA nutrition that can aid in your immunity for your self-care. So that's the physical element of self-care. The next one is mental, up here, like between your ears, mental. There is the saying that if we're not growing, we're dying. I also believe that, I think it was Les Brown who recently said, in specific regards to this global pandemic, the COVID-19, that it's an opportunity for us to not just go through this, but to grow through this. Not go, not G-O, but grow, G-R-O-W. And so what are we doing to stimulate our mind? Are we learning a new skill? Are we reading books that are inspiring and motivating and not just watching the news that gets us down? Are we consuming positive information? What are we putting into our brains? What is the mental aspect? What is your mental state? What is your mindset? Are you thinking positive? Are you using affirmations? Do you have people around you? Are you surrounding yourself with other positive people, with other people that can help boost you and encourage you? The mental aspect of self-care. The emotional aspect of self-care, that's the third one: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So the emotional aspect of self-care is, how are you feeling? And I know right now there are the ups and downs of the feelings. I have felt them all. I've had the days where I'm just down and I don't know what's going on. And I've had the days where I'm ready to conquer the world. And I've had everything in between, and it can change like that. So how are you feeling? I think that a lot of times when we're not feeling our best, or when we're feeling down or depressed or scared or fearful or unsure, there's so much uncertainty happening right now that we don't let ourselves express that. And just because we're feeling something doesn't mean that we get to stay in that feeling. We have to address it. We have to allow the feeling. We have to express it in a positive, healthy way, but we don't have to stay there. So being able to express our feelings and being okay sitting in whatever feeling you're in. So if you're having a sad moment, if you're having a fearful moment, that's okay. Don't stuff it. Don't stuff it, because it's going to come out eventually. Yeah, Ashley, you said you're on a constant up and down. Me too. I feel like it's almost every third or fourth day I get low. And for me, I realized that when the weather is not sunny and nice outside, and I haven't forced myself to go outside in the cold, my mood really takes a dive. So it's all tied together, right? Shemaine, yeah, you too. Like, it's all tied together, right? If we don't physically get outside, even if it's cold and we have to bundle up, our emotional self-care is going to suffer and we're going to feel down. So we have to be aware of what our feelings are, and we have to let ourselves feel. And then we have to let those feelings out again in a healthy way. My clients know that I love to have them journal. Some of them love it, and some of them are like, oh, she's making me journal again. Why is she doing this? And I will say this about journaling is, it's not just, your fancy gold foiled, beautiful page with this feather pen, and you're writing these beautiful sentences and they're grammatically correct and everything. Journaling, the tool, the reason for journaling is to get what's in here out, to make room for something better, to make room for more, to make room for the positive. Journaling does not have to be just pen to paper. It doesn't have to be this journal prompt like, I'm feeling blank today. It can be anything. It can be doing a voice memo on your phone. It can be dance. It can be cooking. It can be art. I know so many people that express their feelings through art and painting, and that's a beautiful way, a healthy way to express those negative feelings and get them out of here to make room for the positive stuff that you want to come in. And yeah, Darty, weather, absolutely. The weather makes or breaks us. And I don't know about you guys who aren't in Reno, but in Reno, we've luckily had sunshine now the last 3 or 4 days. But last week it was, it was cold and gray and miserable. And I felt myself feeling down. So yes, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. So the last element of self-care, and then I promise we will get to those 3 strategies, but I needed to teach you what self-care is first, because these are self-care strategies I'm going to teach you. So the 4th element of self-care is this spiritual element. And I have a strong faith. I believe in God and Jesus Christ. And I believe that everyone was put here on this planet for a reason. I don't, I allow whatever your belief is. So if you believe something else, I just encourage you to think that there's something beyond us. When we think about it not being about us, but there's something bigger, there's something up there, there's something that connects us all. I mentioned in the beginning that I'm feeling this connection between everyone on a global scale because we're all in this together. There isn't one person on this planet right now who is not experiencing what we're all going through to some degree. So we're all connected. And I truly believe that that spiritual connection of self-care is so important. I know when I give myself quiet time and I can hear God and I can hear him directing me, I find that comfort and I find that peace. And for me, the ultimate self-care is laying my head on my pillow and knowing at the end of the day that I have this feeling of peace, that I did good. I did my best. I loved as best as I could. I received as best as I could. I served as best as I could. And I put myself out there as best I could. Does it mean I'm perfect? Oh gosh, no. But I know that at the end of the day, I did my best, and I did my best with intention, and I did it in these areas of self-care. So I really encourage everyone to just have some kind of spiritual connection. Again, whether that's God, universe, source, whatever it is for you, find that in your self-care, and that is the most important. Okay. Are we ready to move on? Because I'm ready to teach you these 3 elements, these 3 specific strategies of how we can stay in the game when life throws us this curveball. So the very first one, I call it bookending your day. And it's a simple concept. All of these concepts, by the way, they're proven. They're simple. They're things that you can start doing and start implementing every single day right now. Shemaine, yeah, I start my day with prayer, end it with prayer. Beautiful. Love it. So this concept of bookending your day, you start with yourself in the morning and you end with yourself at night. It's really that simple. You have a morning routine, you have an evening routine. And especially right now when our routines are kind of, it's like these balls that you throw up in the air and you're like, gosh, I don't even know where they're going to land because we're in this crazy COVID pandemic and I can't do my normal routine. I can't go to my normal meetings. I can't go to my coffee shop and sit with a client or have coffee with a friend. I can't go to the movies. I can't go to my gym and work out. My kids are at home with me. How do I homeschool them and work full time? And my husband's home working full time. Like, it's crazy, right? Anyone else feel the crazies? Like, nod or put an I in the comments, something. Like, we feel the crazies because we're in this crazy, unprecedented time. So the things that we can control are things like having a morning routine and having an evening routine. And again, that routine can look different for you because one of the things about self-care is it's unique to every one of us. Self-care is whatever you do to fill yourself up. I talked about those 4 elements, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, but really what that self-care is, it's filling yourself up first. It's putting yourself, making yourself the cup, filling yourself up first so that you can pour from your overflow. People can have what's on your saucer, and it's not your leftovers, it's your serving from what's left of you, right? Yes. Thank you. Oh, I love it, Tremaine. It's been an adjustment to have my husband working at home full time. I love it. And he has been amazing with helping with the kids and their schoolwork, but it's just different. It's different for us. And so we had to maneuver. What does our morning routine look like now? So some examples for me, it can be 10 minutes, it can be 45 minutes. It kind of depends on what I have going on that day and what the kids have going on and what the weather's like. But I get up, I have my coffee, I sit in my chair, I have a cozy blanket. I'm usually not even dressed yet. I usually have my phone, but that's where I have my devotional and my Bible app if I'm not doing a hard cover or a hard book copy of a devotional or something. But I have my time with God. And I fill myself up that way first. I pour into myself in my spiritual self-care first. And my coffee, I would consider that kind of my physical self-care too. It wakes me up in the morning and it's my routine. And I know that if I don't get that time, my day is kind of off until I put that time in. So again, whatever it looks like for you, maybe it's getting up and doing 30 minutes of yoga. Maybe it's just getting up, grabbing your coffee or your tea or a glass of water and just going outside and getting some fresh air. Maybe it is sitting with a young child and reading a book or snuggling with them or talking about what they're excited about for the day. Maybe it's laying in bed and visualizing, and I'll talk about that in regards to the evening routine. But what is it that you can do every single morning, whether it's 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever you can allow for yourself, because we're all in different scenarios right now. Some of us are full, have a house full, and some of us are completely alone. So what can you manage and what can you do that will bring a smile to your face and do something for yourself to fill yourself up first? So that's the morning. And then the evening routine, I have a rule that I never go to bed without looking at my calendar for the following day. And that is such a good strategy and such a good tip because it allows me to wake up in the morning and visualize my day, because I don't have to go reach for my phone right away and say, oh my God, what do I have going on today? Oh gosh, I forgot I have this webinar at 1:30. Oh no, I have to prepare for that. So look at your calendar the night before to see what you have going on. Again, so you can get up in the morning and you can hit the snooze button, and instead of falling back asleep, just close your eyes and do some deep breathing and visualize a successful day. The other thing that I like to do in the evening, which I've been doing for a while now, and you are welcome to borrow it. It certainly isn't my idea. I borrowed it from someone else, but we get the boys to bed and I will sit down with a hot cup of lemon water. And that really helps me just calm down. It is great for detoxification. Again, that kind of goes with the physical self-care. So just something that just makes me feel warm and fuzzy and cozy and inside. Again, you could have a cup of tea, you could do a meditation, you could read a book, you could journal, you could write 3 things that you're grateful for, because a grateful heart is a heart that will have a positive ripple effect on whatever comes after that. So that's a great tip. So bookend your day, have a morning routine, have an evening routine. Again, it doesn't have to be a certain amount of time, but it just has to be time that you are dedicating to yourself, because you're filling yourself up at the beginning of the day so you can get through your day. And then you're filling yourself up at the end of the day with gratitude or something else that is just kind of reflective and getting you settled to go to bed. Don't ever go to bed without looking at your calendar for the next day, and just do something for you to make you feel good so that when your head hits that pillow, you have that peace of mind. All right. Strategy number 2, keep to the code. Does anyone else love Pirates of the Caribbean? Aye, right? Type an aye in the chat, or just raise your hand if you like Pirates of the Caribbean. I love this movie, and I love this Pirates code. And I've kind of tweaked it. Yes, oh, I love it. You actually typed eyes. I love it. I have sort of manipulated this code to be more of a self-care code. So it's not necessarily the Pirates code, but it is a code that you can use throughout your day. So we know that you are bookending your day. You have something happening in the morning, something happening in the evening. But now we get to give ourselves permission to pause. And that, my friends, is the code. That's the code. So here's how you can use this strategy. You're tired. you can tell someone permission to pause. You're overwhelmed, you're processing, you're stressed, you're distracted, you have 10 people wanting you at the same time, whether that's your kids needing help with schoolwork, your husband wondering what's for dinner or what's happening, a client calling saying, oh my God, I'm freaking out, I need you. 12 different Zoom calls that you're supposed to be on at the same time. I don't know about you, but my calendar has been full of Zoom calls lately, and I'm like, nope, stop. Permission to pause. So this is something, you guys, that you can use with anyone around you. And the power of this, once you explain to them what permission to pause means, is that you don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to explain why you're tired, why you're overwhelmed, why you're distracted or processing, why you're thirsty and you have to go, go to the bathroom, or why you need to go grab a snack. You don't have to explain why. You just get to say permission to pause. And that's like a blanket statement that says, okay, this person needs a self-care pause. And if we can give ourselves pause throughout the day, sometimes we just have to say to ourselves, permission to pause. If we can give ourselves permission to pause throughout the day, then we are going to be able to maintain a higher level of productivity, a higher level of positivity, a higher level of service, and doing what it is that we were put on this planet to do. So everyone type in the chat, permission to pause, because I want you to practice it. I want you to get used to practicing saying permission to pause. And it just means, again, that you don't have to explain. It's like excusing yourself from the table when you have to go to the bathroom without saying like, oh, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I have to run to the bathroom. Instead you can just say permission to pause. So take that as your strategy number 2, permission to pause. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Yeah, Nancy, Ashley, Shemaine, permission to pause. And then you can, of course, now tonight go watch Pirates of the Caribbean. Okay, strategy number 3. Moving on. Seek accountability. This is a huge one. How many of you have a coach or some kind of accountability partner or buddy or a group, a mastermind, someone that you can reach out to and say, hey, here are my goals and I need your help in reaching them? I think that it is important to always have someone in your back pocket. Someone where no matter what it is, no matter whether it's a business goal, a personal goal, a lifestyle goal, a health goal, a relationship goal, I think it's so crucial to have someone in your back pocket that you can dial, you can text message, you can reach out to and say, I want this and I need someone to help me stay on track. Ashley, you don't have one and need one. Yes, I think it's so important. A lot of my clients, find the accountability in calls with me, in weekly accountability calls, and I usually save it for VIP clients. I want to open it up to everyone right now, especially because we're all in this crazy time. And like I said earlier, it's like the balls got thrown up and we don't know where they're landing. So accountability is huge. And again, whether you find that accountability with me, whether you connect with someone here on this training in the chat and partner up with them. I have a Facebook group that is wonderful where you can post anything that has to do with self-care, and we can support you and honor you and hold you accountable. It's called Self-Care Isn't Selfish. It's in Facebook. And Anne, I don't know if you can post the link to the group in there. I probably should have had you prepare for that earlier. But if you can post the link to the Facebook group, you're all invited and welcome to come join us. It's a free group on Facebook. But accountability. So what does accountability look like? It's sharing your goals. It's verbalizing it. It's not just writing it down on a piece of paper, because that is a great step. And that actually will help you achieve your goals when you write it down and you put it in this concrete form. But when you speak it, it sort of has this life now that it's happening, and you're putting it out there. You're putting it out there to God or the universe. So the accountability, you have to take your step. You have to move forward, and then you have to seek someone who is going to meet you there and say, okay, I might not have a solution for you. I might not be able to tell you how to do it, but I can hold you accountable. So I would love to offer accountability coaching for anyone who's interested. Again, usually I reserve this special program. I call it self-care planning calls. I usually reserve it for my VIP clients. It's usually $250 a month. Right now it's $100 a month. And it's a weekly laser focused coaching session, accountability session with me every single week. And then it's access to me pretty much not 24/7, because I do have family and I do sleep and I have boundaries, but you can text me, you can Voxer me, you can Facebook message me. And it's basically like having me in your back pocket. So if you want to learn more about that program, if you want to have a chat to see if it might be a good fit, you can go to the link, talkwithpamela.com, and we can just schedule some time to talk on my calendar and see if it's a good fit for you or not. So Anne, thank you for that link, the Facebook link. And if you can post the link, talkwithpamela.com, also, again, that takes you right to my calendar, and we can see if this self-care planning call program would be a good fit for you, or if there's something else that could work for you too. But accountability is a huge one, because without it, we are just stuck to our own devices of ensuring that we follow through on what it is that we say we're going to follow through on. Okay. So those are the 3 strategies. Bookend your day. Permission to pause, remember the code, right? The pirate code, and then seek accountability. So self-care really is putting your oxygen mask on first. And a lot of times we find that it's hard to do that because we feel guilty. We feel guilty for doing something for ourselves first. That is the number one issue that I help my clients work through, is this guilt of, I'm not worthy enough. Oh my gosh, like my kids are at home and I need to take care of them, or I have this huge mission out in the world and I have to help people, and there's people dying right now. There's people alone in hospitals. How can I possibly take my focus off of doing something for them and put it on me and do something for myself first? And I know that that is a real concern, and it's a real thought that we struggle with a lot. Have any of you ever struggled with this guilt of taking care of ourselves? Put a yes in the comment, or raise your hand, or nod. I still struggle with it. And you guys, I'm not an expert in this because I'm exempt from needing any of this. I'm an expert in this because I am the one who needs this more than anyone. I believe that we teach what we most need to know ourselves. And so I know that the guilt is something that creeps up. It's something that doesn't serve us. And the thing that we can do to kind of squash that guilt is practice taking care of ourselves first. Again, not in a selfish way, but in a self-care way. And I have a little bonus kind of strategy for you, if you will, if you guys want a bonus strategy. Yay for thumbs up. This bonus strategy is another affirmation, or it's another saying. It's another kind of tagline that you can say. And sometimes we literally have to walk in the bathroom and look in the mirror and say this to ourselves. But sometimes we get to say it to someone who is asking something of us when we're just so empty, we're so depleted, we're so exhausted that we can't possibly give anything more. We don't have anything left in our saucer. Our cup is empty. So there's nothing to pour out into others. And it's saying this. It's saying, I love you, so I am taking care of me. I love you, so I am taking care of me. And this is a strategy that can really help combat that guilt, especially you go to the bathroom, you put a post-it up on the mirror and you repeat it. You put it on the visor of your car, you put it as an image on your phone and have it come up as a reminder every hour on the hour if you need it. I love you, so I'm taking care of me. Yes, Anne, thank you for typing that in the chat. And that's a powerful statement to, again, squash that guilt. And going back to the emotional element of self-care, we don't want to ignore the guilt. We want to acknowledge it, but we don't want to sit in it. So I love you, so I am taking care of me. Because we know that if we don't put our oxygen mask on first, we won't be able to take care of those that we love. We won't be able to take care of those that we serve. We won't be able to take care of the ones that we were put on this planet to take care of, the ones that we are neglecting ourselves for. So put your oxygen mask on first. Okay. So let's see. What is your self-care? So I want to know from you guys, put either a 1, a 2, or a 3 in the chat for which strategy resonated with you the most and which one you're going to focus on, or you would love accountability on, or you just, that was the one that, oh, that hit home. So 1 was bookending your day. 2 was Pirates of the Caribbean, self-care version, the code, permission to pause. And 3 was seek accountability. Awesome. Great. I love it. And then I just want you guys to think about too, what brings you joy? What makes you happy in those 4 areas? Awesome. 1, keep to the code. 2, bookends. Yes, absolutely. 3, accountability. Beautiful. I love it. So what is it that brings you joy in those 4 elements of self-care? The physical, the mental, the emotional, and spiritual. I just want you to think about that. And you don't have to answer this right now on this call. That's something, call it, extra homework if you want. But just think about, what are the things that you could do? What are the things that bring you joy? Because those are the things then that you're going to be able to pour into the bookends of your day, the things that you're going to ask for accountability on, the things that you're going to say, I love you, so you are taking, so I love you. So there's, my son is waving to me in the window. I love you, so I'm taking care of me. What are those things that you're going to do? And it's not necessarily a doing. Sometimes it can be just a being. How are you thinking? How are you feeling? How are you connecting to source? What are you putting in your body? Are you having the right nutrients and healthy plant-based food and ingredients that are going to boost your immunity, again, in a time such as this? So just be thinking of that. And we are almost done, but before we go, I have something special for you. I like to give gifts. I like to give freebies. Again, the Self-Care Isn't Selfish Facebook group is an open, free group where we support each other. There's daily theme posts. We can talk about accountability if that's where you'd like to start. If you'd like to talk to me about accountability and having me in your back pocket, again, talkwithpamela.com. Or I have some other gifts that I would love to offer you. And you can just text these to the number 33777. So I have a free PDF download called 7 Simple Self-Care Secrets. And it's 7 strategies, and there are simple strategies and then there's advanced strategies. So it's kind of a double whammy for you. And all you have to do is text the word self-care 1, the number 1, to 33777. And then if you're interested in learning more about DNA nutrition, if you want to get your own sample DNA report that shows you these 18 SNPs that we test for, 8 of which, by the way, are directly linked to your immunity, you can just text 1UDNA to 33777. Yeah, and thank you. You put that in the chat. Awesome. So 7 simple self-care secrets, or your sample DNA report. It's also a kind of a quiz, so you can kind of see where your nutrition is a little bit, some simple questions. So those are some freebies that I have for you. I would love to stay connected with you. I would love to just be your guide and your mentor. And I will just leave you with this, and then we'll open it up for questions at the end. That the future depends on what you do today. We can't control a year from now. We can't control 6 months from now. We can't necessarily control tomorrow, but we can control what we do today, and that will have an effect on what happens tomorrow and in our future. And even in this uncertain time, there are things that we can do. There are things that we can control, and we can say yes to ourselves, and we can say yes to our self-care. So thank you all so much for joining me today. I have loved sharing with you. I hope you got some wonderful value out of this, some actions that you're going to take or do or be. I'm going to stop screen sharing now, and then we can open it up for questions if I can find, there we go. There we go. Okay, so any questions or comments or anything, we can stop the recording and we can just chat. Thank you. And feel free to unmute yourself if you want to say anything or add a comment or anything. Thank you all for being here. Shemaine and Ashley and Darty and Nancy. And I know there were some others that were on earlier. So thank you. Remember, self-care isn't selfish. It's essential, and you are worth it. And the people that you serve are worth you taking care of you, especially during this time, especially during this pandemic that we're all facing. Yes. Thanks.